Halloween
forever.
Steven, my boy, how are you on this festive Christmas Eve? I'm pretty good, Brian. How are you doing? I'm all right, Steve. That's my Steve impression. We'll probably edit this part out. I'm sure you guys won't be able to tell the difference. It's pretty spot on. Hey, Steve, I got one for you. Okay, Brian. Steve, what does the naughty soccer announcer get for Christmas every year? I don't know, Brian. What does he get? Well, Steve, of course, he gets coal. Welcome, boys and ghouls, to a very festive minisode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian, and despite that spot-on impression of Steven, he's not here. He's not here today. I know you're like, wait, what is this trickery? What is this magic? Guys, it's performance. It's a spot-on impression. But he is not here because, as we often do, for loyal listeners of the podcast, you will know around the holiday season, we split it up. We take a bit of a break, although not really in terms of show releases. We still release some spicy, tasty, sweet content every Monday on the internet. However, we switch it up and we do some solo episodes where Steve has got some guests on. I'm going to have some guests on, and I'm going to do something that I do, I think pretty much every year at this point, where I have my kiddos on, and sometimes my lovely wife, Kate, which I'm going to do both of those things this year. The kids always look forward to being a guest on the podcast, and we're going to talk about a few things with them lovely folks here in a hot second, my fam. But before we do that, got to do some things at the top of the show. Now, I am not imbibing on a beer because I am recording this pretty early in the day here on Sunday. Not really beer o'clock for me here yet. However, you might hear that. I am sipping on some nice peppermint mocha, a little pep mocha coffee here. So I'm getting a little festive. Nice sunny day out, but a nice blanket of festive white snow. We got a little surprise snowstorm yesterday, dropped about 6 inches of snow on us. So we're out playing in the snow today. We're drinking some. I made some hot spiced apple cider for the kids. We're getting festive as shit over here, but not beer o'clock quite yet for me. But a couple things before we jump into these little individual interviews with my kids and with my wife. We have a couple of topics we'll talk about here, which should be fun. Looking forward to it. But before we do that, a couple of things. Let's stop the old show and we got to get out of the way. Once upon a time, I don't know why I said once. First of all, is what I meant to say. Let me remind you, as we get into this most festive of seasons, remember, we do have not only social media out there where you can follow us and you can do all those types of yummy things, but if you're looking for a gift to give myself and Steve this holiday season, because all the yuck 'em ups and all the spooky ooks that we gave you all year long, best thing you can do, just go drop us a little review on the social media or rather the podcast app of your choice, what I meant to say. So like your Apple Podcasts, your Spotify's, whatever. Go in there, give us like the max number of stars, whatever the hell it is, and then write a little thing and go, hey, these guys, they're all right. And then that means a lot to us. And that helps get the show, some more eyes on the show. So we appreciate that. Now, if you're looking for some last minute gifts for somebody who ain't me and Steve, but they fans of this show, here's what you do. You go over to patreon.com/Halloween is Forever. You can get them a subscription over there to our Patreon. And in addition to a bunch of additional fun stuff over there, like Steve just put out like 3,500 words on a little reviews of a bunch of holiday and not so holiday horror movies that he's watched throughout the lovely festive month of December, reviewed them, making jokes and laugh them ups and all fun stuff over there. You also get to be part of the the Discord so you can come on and listen to us and watch us and interact with us as we record live. Now, we ain't doing that today because it's a little bit of a weird episode because I'm interviewing 3 different people and it's a whole dang thing. But typically, we'll have folks hanging out with us as we record live. But then the real fun, you get a bunch of fun stuff, but the real creme de la creme of the subscription is access to our Patreon exclusive podcast series that we do. First one, we did Families Forever, where Steve made me watch all 10 or 11 or whatever the fuck they were. This hot garbage that is the Fast and Furious franchise. You don't have to watch the movies. In fact, I would strongly urge that you don't. Because they are dog shit. However, talking about them was fun and making fun of them. And now we are actually getting damn close to wrapping up my kind of revenge series, if you will, called Youth Group is Forever, wherein I make Steve watch a bunch of dog shit, like right-wing Christian propaganda horror movies. I use the term horror very loosely. But we just recorded one called The Reconciler. That was our December one, which is like a Christian take on Saw. And I guess I use the term take very loosely because it has very little to do with the movie Saw, but it's obviously a very intentional, Christian knockoff on it. Holy shit. It is easily one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And that's saying a lot because as you all know at home, I watch a lot of dog shit. But if you want to hear us talk about that, it is a lot of fun. We have a lot of laughs, a lot of yuck 'em ups over there, and it's a lot of fun. You can grab a subscription, $5 a month on the Patreon, support the show, all the hours and time we put in this, especially Steve editing this dog, especially this one today. He's gonna have a fun time editing. It supports all of that good stuff, and then also you get a little thoughtful gift for your loved one. So check it out, patreon.com/Halloween is Forever. One last thing I do want to do as well before I jump into these little fun little interview situations is remember our January showdown is rapidly approaching, and I think Steve either for this episode or next episode is going to edit in what the old movies are going to be. But remember, the topic is good movies, bad titles. So we're talking about some movies, and for me, one of the quintessential examples of this, and I don't think Steve's going to pick it. I'm not going to pick it because we actually might have done it on the show already, but even if we haven't, we've talked about this as a quintessential example of this phenomena already, is the movie Life Force. Awesome fucking movie, dog shit title, and for that reason, we don't think folks got as many eyes on it for that reason. So we're going to talk about movies of that particular ilk in January, which is a new showdown topic we've never done before. Really, really excited about that. So if you've got suggestions, I know at this particular point in time, I'm recording this on December the 22nd, right before Xmas, guys, right before Jesus comes down the chimney and threatens you and gives you presents. I have not come up with my movie for that particular topic. So if you've got a suggestion for me, slide on into the DMs, guys, and throw them over there on the Instagram at Halloween is Forever. That's where I usually be. And then Steve is usually on the on the X, but not so much anymore. But the Facebook and the Blue Sky and the other thing, we both read them. So go slide on into them DMs and whatever and send us some suggestions if you feel so inclined. Also, it's crunch time. We're down to the wire in terms of spooky holiday horror movies. I've watched a bunch of new ones this year. I will be honest with you, have not got a lot of new gems this year. I'm really excited for Nosferatu coming out on Christmas Day. Of course, not a holiday horror movie, but it is coming out on Christmas Day, so I would be remiss if I did not call it out. I'm excited for that, but I have not, with the exception of Terrifier 3, which came out way back in October, which is a modern classic, and don't come at me on it in terms of holiday horror. I haven't really watched a whole lot around the Christmas season that is new to me that I'm impressed with. Of course, you watch your Black Christmases, right? I watched the Jack Frost. We watched Jack Frost 2. We did as an episode earlier this month. I watched My Santa's Sleigh, all those ones, which I love. But as far as new ones, the only one that I kind of thought was a little fun, I posted about on the Instagram, was Holiday Hell from 2019, which was an anthology. Good Lord, I couldn't think of the word. An anthology horror movie from 2019, which was Had a couple of interesting ideas, generally speaking, not particularly well executed, but we did have Jeffrey Combs in the wraparound, which I love me some Jeffrey Combs. So that was kind of fun. Otherwise, just kind of watching a lot of stuff that I've seen already. Because the new stuff I've seen, not super great, in my opinion. I probably haven't been checking enough out. I've been watching a lot of anime. I've been down a whole dang anime rabbit hole lately. I went and rewatched all of the original 25 episodes of Berserk. I've been watching the Dandadan, which I know a lot of people were talking about, which is a new anime from this. I think it's coming out this year, right? Or these are like new episodes this year. And then I've been slogging along with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as well. Maybe I haven't been looking in the right places for the new holiday horror. So send some suggestions as we tick down the last handful of days or so of 2024. Okay, I think we got all that stuff out of the way, guys. So we're going to do 3 little mini interviews here because my kids want to do their own because, they're full on grown-ups at this point. They're 8 and 10, so they want to do their own little segments. And also we're going to talk about 2 very distinct different things. We're going to talk about my oldest, Maeve, who, like I said, is 10. She is the one who's into spooky stuff. She loves the old Universal horror movies, and she's seen a lot of the classics and things like that, which of course are not too terribly intense. But she just watched recently her first kind of a modern horror movie, although it is, more of a sci-fi horror and is a PG-13 movie. Obviously you got to ease him into this. She is only 10 years old, but we watched The Gate, which we're going to talk about there, and she really enjoyed. She's eager to talk about that. And then my 8-year-old, who's not as much into the spooky stuff, and is obviously a little too young for pretty much all horror movies. We're going to talk about some fun Christmas specials and Christmas movies that she likes that we've watched this year, and some ones that she's looking forward to squeezing in here the last few days of the holiday season. And then my lovely wife Kate is going to join me for a short segment where we are going to talk about kind of confessions of a horror spouse or a horror partner. I know a lot of you boils and ghouls out there have significant others that may or may not be horror fans. And for someone like myself, who's kind of an obsessive horror fan, and my wife who is not, but we have been together for, nigh on 15 years. And she is quite used to the horror racket by now. I think it would be a fun, hopefully relatable and candid conversation wherein she talks about how much of a fucking weirdo I am and how she barely tolerates me. I think that is going to be the gist of the conversation, but it should be a little bit fun. All right, guys, without further ado, let's jump into these interviews. Jumping into our first little fun segment here, I've got my oldest, Maeve. Maeve, say hi.
Hi.
And tell the listeners at home, how old are you?
10.
You're 10 years old. You remember how old you were when the first time we did one of these was?
Like 7 or 6.
Yeah, probably something like that. I think we've been doing this for a good 4 years or something like that. So believe it or not, Marv, which is her real name, it's Marv. We just call her Maeve or Mavis. I forget. Which is her real name? Mavis. No, I'm just kidding. Maeve, believe it or not, starting to watch them horror films, them spooky movies. You like spooky movies, don't you? Yeah. What? So we've been watching, the Universal monster movies, some older movies for a long time. Do you remember some of the first ones we've watched, or tell the folks which of the the classic monster movies you've seen by now?
I think. I know we went to see as a family. We went to see at I don't know, this, would you call it the Strand or whatever?
Yeah, the Strand. That's a little independent theater near us.
We went to see or not Dracula, but we did see Dracula. We didn't go to see it, we saw it at home. But we did see Frankenstein at the Strand, and I think, isn't there like a sequel to that or something? Frankenstein or whatever?
Yeah, Bride of Frankenstein. Have you seen Bride of Frankenstein yet? I can't remember if we've watched that yet.
We started it.
Yeah, maybe we didn't finish it yet.
What else did we see? What was the other one? I think it was like...
You've seen The Invisible Man.
That was what... I think I saw The Mummy.
Yeah, you've seen The Mummy. I'm trying to think which ones... Have we watched The Wolfman yet?
Yeah, and maybe... Did we see The Creature from the Black Lagoon?
Yeah, that actually might have been the first one that you watched with me was The Creature.
Yeah, I really liked that. That was my favorite. And,
The Creature's your favorite?
Yeah, my second favorite is The Invisible Man or whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm. The Invisible Man.
Isn't that the same as The Mummy or something?
No, they're two different ones. But I think you have only seen bits and pieces of The Mummy, which is that's actually one of the strangest ones. Which we'll have to go back and watch that one again.
I'm looking over the side in the room that my dad records in, and I see an LED of an alien, and it's him smoking and playing up the middle finger.
Yeah, there's a lot of kid appropriate stuff in my office, isn't there?
Uh-huh. Help me.
Do you tell your friends at home that Daddy has a creepy lair for his office?
Yeah, it's his underground secret. Well, actually, it's not underground.
It's actually as above ground as, well, it's not on the top floor of the house, but it's on the second floor. But this is where I can look out the window and stare out and creep on people out the window. What do you think about that? All right. So we're not talking about the Universal movies, that horror movies here. We're talking about a movie that you watched for the first time, which was kind of your first like modern horror movie, albeit a PG-13. No, not modern compared to you, but like modern compared to the Universal movies. They're 50, 60 years older than or newer rather than a lot of those. But what did you and I watch together recently?
The Gate.
Yeah, The Gate. Do you remember what year? And we're talking about the Tibor Takas directed movie. Do you remember what year it's from?
Like, I don't remember. You told me when we, at the beginning, like before, I was like, I want to watch a scary movie. What's like an actual scary movie? Not like the Universal Monsters movie. And you said The Gate, and you said what year it was made in, and I forgot.
Do you have a guess?
I don't know, like 1856.
No, it's not 1800s. It's 1987, which
I was actually gonna guess some like 1997 or something like that. I was gonna do like something 7.
Yeah, close. 1987. Do you know what year Daddy was born?
A long time ago.
Only 2 years before that, in the year of our Lord, 1985. Can you even imagine something that far back?
No.
Daddy's going to be 40 years old this year. Isn't that crazy?
Wow, you're old.
I know. It's disgusting. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about The Gate. I want to hear what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it. Let me give the listeners at home, I'm sure many of you are familiar with this movie. This is a PG-13 horror movie. Really, I thought a good intro type of horror movie. So a couple different, people to call out here. It's actually, you know what? Let's do the little plot synopsis here, and then you can tell me if you think this is accurate. This is from Letterboxd, which is like this movie website, and this gives you just a summary of what the movie's plot is, and then you can tell me if you think this is accurate. Okay, or do you want to read it? Okay.
So it says in all caps, pray it's not too late. And so it's 3 young children accidentally release the horde of nasty pin-sized demons from a hole in a suburban backyard. That's so far good. What follows is a classic battle between good and evil as the three kids struggle to overcome a nightmarish hell that is literally taking over the earth. Well, yeah, the sky turns red and orange, and it actually looks like a sunset, like the whole sky. And there's like fire everywhere. And there's just these two bratty twins that, like, the older sister is one of the three kids, has friends that are just there, not helping at all. They run inside.
What was the one girl kept saying, the one with the crazy hair? You were infatuated by their 80s hairdos.
It was really ugly. So it was like, it looked like an afro, but like not curly. It was like if a perm wasn't curly and just sticking, no, like a mohawk of all sides of the head. Oh, just sticking straight out with a purple streak, and it was like fringed. Are those called like fringe?
Yeah, probably.
And it was really ugly.
Oh, it was like crimped. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I forgot what it was called. But yeah, that's what one of them was. And then the other one had like really like short bangs that went like straight up. And it was really bad.
You were infatuated with the hairdos. I'm sure you've never seen the likes of them before. For those of you at home who aren't familiar with this movie, not a ton, but besides the brother and sister, their parents go out of classic parents out of town situation, and then they accidentally bring demons out of the center of the earth. You have a very young Stephen Dorff playing Glenn, and then Krista Denton as Al, which is his older sister. And then the other kind of main character here is played by Louis Tripp, who's Terry, right?
Yeah. So there's this one part where like, so there's a lot of like there's two different, like, this guy isn't a demon. He's it's like a whole number movie. And it's and so the demons, well, there's this guy, so it's like, what's his name, Terry. He said that there is a worker that like built the house. So one there were like three workers. There were two workers. One of them died. The two workers, they were building the wall, so they shoved him in the wall and built around him.
Do you think that actually happened, or do you think, because we do see that guy as like a zombie comes out and attacks him, do you think that actually happened and they actually brought him back, or do you think that's just the demons like playing tricks on the kids to scare them because they knew that story?
Yeah, I think it was, well,
it could be either one,
because was it after or before that the parents, so the parents, they think that the parents came back, and no, it wasn't, that was obviously just the demons. And like, he was like, what's his name, sorry,
what is it, Glenn?
Mm-hmm, Glenn. So he's coming, and he was going a hug, and he was holding, and then he was like giving them a hug, and then the mom or the dad starts picking him up by his throat. He was like, something's wrong. And then he touches his face, and it like caves in, and there's goop coming out. And
classic goop scene.
Yeah, and then and they like, when I read the thing that I read the thingy.
The synopsis. The plot synopsis.
I can't say that with my
plot
braces.
Summary.
There's no way I could say that with my braces.
Synopsis.
Close enough. Yeah, that's good. But anyway, so it was like pin-sized demons or whatever those things were. Those were ugly. But anyway, those things, it broke into a bunch of those little things. It just like disintegrated into a bunch of those little things. They're not pin-sized. They're like...
Well, it's pint size. Is what it's like. Pint, like a pint, like a pint glass.
Did it say pint?
I think so.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all right.
No, they're not pin size. They probably are more pint size, but well, I don't know what a pint is really. So,
but yeah, then they trick them. They like build themselves up into like different images and like trick the kids into thinking they're seeing things they're not seeing and scaring them, right?
Well, yeah, and then like whatever, and what I was saying about that, I totally got off track. But that's like, and then so. That zombie guy, worker, ghost, was in the wall. He came out of the wall. I don't know if it was those guys built up or them having like a dream, like a vision, or it was real.
Yeah, it honestly could. I don't think they ever really explain it.
Yeah, they don't really. A lot of the things they don't really explain anything really, but so about that happened, and he was like, so he took Terry into the wall, like took him back in to like the demon's realm or whatever. And Terry came out of the wall when they were looking for like their dad's like. Him and his sister were looking for their dad's like Nerf gun or whatever. Nerf gun? Wait, no, not Nerf gun. BB gun. Sorry. So they were looking for in the closet, and he comes out of the wall, and he looks like a gopher with his teeth, kind of like I did before I got braces. And he bit. What's his name? Glenn. I can't remember his name. Yeah. Glenn's hand, and it like stretched his skin, and I hated that part.
That you said afterwards, I said, what parts did you like and which parts didn't you like? And I think the part that you said, no, I said, was it scary? And you said the only part that I didn't like was when Terry's teeth, when he comes out of the wall and bites Glenn's hand. Was that the only part that you thought was scary?
No, because I don't like needles for like I have this whatever it's called, needle phobia or whatever, and so it's like they like this is what I'm scared of. They try and pull it out and it's bent and it stretches my skin. That's what I'm sorry. I've probably just unlocked new fears for a lot of you guys, but it was that's why I don't like shots. But
so it wasn't even the look of Terry; it was the stretchy skin.
Yeah, it was like his skin. It was like the makeup or whatever that they put on. It was stretchy, and then he also just tried to grab him and take him into the hole in the clothes hanger, into the glowing demon's realm. And then one point, it just like before that, or this was after. Was this before or after that the floor just caved in?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't remember the order.
But yeah, it's like all this stuff happens. They're all different things, and you just don't remember the order of which they happened. And so at one point the floor caves in, and I think this is after. Oh, I forgot the first so you keep seeing like creepy signs of like that something's happening.
With the hole in the yard, huh?
Yeah, before that. This is like the hole in the yard. The main thing about the hole in the yard, this is how the hole in the yard it was this is how it came to be. Yeah. So they had this tree that got struck down by lightning, and Glenn had this dream that he was in a tree house in that tree, but he wasn't. It was just a dream. And then but the tree did actually get struck down by lightning, but that was the first he kind of had twin telepathy with the tree. I don't know if
yeah, it was like I don't know, foresight kind of thing.
Connection, whatever. But he kind of somehow knew, and he was like, that's the first sign that there's something weird happening. And so after that happened, they were a bunch of workers came and took the tree, and and there was a hole, and so they
wasn't there a geode kind of thing?
Yeah, they filled it back up, the workers, and then Glenn and Terry dug it back up, being who they are, and they found this giant geode, and it was a perfect circle, and it was giant. It was bigger than Terry's head, and Terry looks like he's 12, and Glenn looks like he's 5.
Yeah, it looks like I bet Terry. I bet Terry is your age, and then I bet Glenn is maybe your sister's age.
Yeah. Anyway,
or maybe Glenn's just short.
Maybe, but Glenn he looks like a toddler.
He's very baby faced, yeah.
Baby faced. Anyway, they dug it back up, and the geode, and they broke up. They were trying to break it up in the geode over and over and over and over and over and over, and after they broke it open, Terry was trying really hard, and then Glenn like tapped it, and it opened, and it was like glowing crazy inside. There was nothing inside. It was just like purple, reddish, metallic kind of geo that was glowing, and it was I don't know really what did that have to do.
Honestly, I don't think it had. I mean, besides maybe it had like it was there to lure them back, because the idea is the demons wanted to be released from the hole, and I think maybe the geode was there to like lure the boys back to make them dig a little bit more. But ultimately they like fall down in the hole, and then yeah. You're like, give me the microphone.
Anyway, so there, yeah, I think it was like to kind of lure them in, because the demons wanted, so it was like, yeah, it was something about they needed 2 human sacrifices to...
You have a better memory than me.
They need 2 human sacrifices. Yeah, I probably do.
Shut up.
Hey!
Human sacrifice.
Yeah, he needed 2 human sacrifices. Not he. Terry didn't need that, but I hope he didn't. But so the demons, they needed 2 human sacrifices to like fall in the hole. They eat it. I don't know what they do with it. But
well, then they summon the big bad boy giant demon at the end.
Yeah. So he so the. That's what I was getting to, and then I got off track. But they needed 2 human sacrifices, and like the first weird thing that happened, like one of the like actually creepy things that happened was the dog. Oh, so Terry's mom died, and
yeah, like before the movie started,
and like he had been like it'd been a few years, like 2 years or something.
I think they said the year before, so it'd been like a year.
Okay, so and his dad kind of just like acted like he didn't exist. Mm-hmm. So he was just like kind of living with Glenn for a little bit. And so Terry's mom, he was woke up and he thought he heard something, so went downstairs. He saw his mom singing a creepy song, so he came and gave her a hug, and he just like flashed back into existence and like into like reality, mm-hmm. And the dog. And it was the dog that was hugging him up on his hind legs, hugging him. He was like, whoa. And he was like, ah. And the dog was like, he was alive. And then all of a sudden he died. Yeah, they kept saying he was very old. So that's why they weren't really suspicious of it, because the dog apparently was really old. But anyway, the dog died, and they buried him in the hole. So that, I guess, was the first sacrifice, right? No, they were like, I remember it was like they didn't want a real they wanted a real human sacrifice, but then they realized that wasn't a human sacrifice. I'm telling you, I have better memory than you. So it's like they need a real human sacrifice, not a dog, and so they said they needed more, and so the dog was actually not going to die. It was the demons, and they were really sad about that. But anyway, they wanted what's Alan? Al is the sister. Al. I don't really know what it's short for. Yeah, probably like, I don't know. Alicia. Oh, yes. Maybe, I don't know. Al. So they took Al too. But what did she turn into? Like creepy. Oh, there was also the part where she had a party. They were like, as soon as the parents left, that night, they were like, no parties. So Al immediately starts a party. She's like 16, so that's probably a good guess. So she's like 16. She threw a party with all her friends, and by the way, she also has bad hair, with a purple streak in it. That's really sad that they thought that was good at the time. Hindsight's 2020. I mean, some of the kids in your class have some pretty gnarly mullets. Gnarly. I'm not going to say any names, but like there are. Do you think maybe in 10, 20 years from now, they're going to look back and go like, oh my God, what was I doing? lots of mullets. There's so many mullets. Bro, there's this one kid, he has a perm that's like he grew out and it goes to the side and he doesn't have any hair on it.
Yeah, 20 years from now, like right now, they think it's cool, but that's how it goes. I mean, listen, now it's coming back, but when I was a kid, people used to have like frosted tips and think that was the coolest thing in the world.
Frosted perms.
Frosted perms. That's a good band name. All right, let's get back to the movie. Let's go towards the end here. What happened? How did they end up getting the big giant demon? Like, how did they end up defeating him? Do you remember?
I don't know. He becomes his friend or something.
No. He does. Remember, he uses the model rocket that him and his sister were going to do. We're going to use.
Oh yeah. So there's this whole thing about this rocket that like he really wanted, and his sister stole it from him, and then it like gopher. Terry, like he stole when he was a demon. He stole it from the closet, and I think it was something like that. So the demon stole the other one, and so Al got him a new one, and they were going to do it, and then they realized this is while Al and Terry are still demons, and no, everyone's demons.
Everyone's demons.
Yeah, everyone except for poor old Glenn are demons, and so he uses the rocket and he blasts at the big boy, and so he blasts at him, and he goes and falls, but at one point he just like grabs his arm, Glenn's arm, and I don't know, he broke his arm or something. And he was like, oh, is Terry was there during that, but then like, yeah, Terry was there.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how it played out, but.
Oh, and then he fell in the hole. Al and him fell in the hole. So, and yeah, the hole just moved. It moved inside the house.
Well, something happened where then the big giant demons got summoned up inside the house. And we should say too, the demons, the little ones and the big one, are all like pretty cool stop motion, like claymation, Harryhausen looking things.
I don't know who Harryhausen is, but anyway, you were just saying yesterday or something. It was like how you don't like how people call things that aren't claymation.
Yeah, but this actually is claymation. What do you have to say to that?
Well,
Smart Alec. Well, we were talking about the Rankin Bass Christmas specials that are stop motion, but they're not actually claymation because the models are made of like wood and felt and stuff instead of clay. I think the monsters in this movie are actually made of clay. They're clay models.
Like, oh, whoa!
Don't fall off the stool.
Nightmare Before Christmas is one we talked about before I was like really little. I was like 6. We talked about that. I don't know if you guys remember that, but
well, and that one, those are also clay, or mostly clay, I would imagine, models too. Anyway, all right, let's get back to the ending here, or let's get to the overall thoughts on the movie. First of all, I'm curious to hear, did you think that it is scary overall?
I mean, anything before like the year 2000 or like pretty much before the year like 1990 or 1998 wasn't really scary.
You don't think there's any movies before 1990 that are scary? Wait till you see The Exorcist or Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You're going to poop your pants.
Microphone. So
how dare you?
I didn't know. I didn't know about those, and so that's my defense. What do you call a word?
Defense.
Yeah, that's my defense. So, first of all, I didn't know about those. So, anything that I've heard of before 1990 or 2000 isn't that scary. Like, maybe before
You're out of your depth here, sister. Here's what I want to She's attacking me right now. Here's what I want to know. First of all, if you had to rate this movie on a scale of what, you want to do a 1 to 10 scale? What would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10? Not just scariness, just overall how much you enjoyed the movie, 1 to 10.
I liked it. It was like, well, it was kind of disgusting. Like, if you go and watch the movie, like, you can't really explain, like the texture of the skin of the demon is, like, slimy and, like, too, like, slippery and oily. It's disgusting. Bro needs some skincare. So, the demons are, no, they're not. They're kind of disgusting. But I like the movie, but like it wasn't really that like scary, other than the part that was like obviously like the stretchy skin. But overall, I'd give it like 7 or like 6.9.
Okay, so almost 7. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. I think that's fair. What are you interested in watching The Gate 2? We were talking about before we started recording. There is a Gate 2. Do you want to watch that one?
Yeah, is it better? Is it like scarier?
I have not watched The Gate 2 in a while, but I do remember liking it. But I remember it's pretty, if I recall, pretty bonkers. It gets pretty wacky in a fun way.
The Gate, like I was like, oh, the one part where I didn't even finish about the friends. They started levitating him. The levitating Glenn. All the friends, they were like, there's this creepy friend who was like, hey guys, I know a trick where you actually put your 2 fingers out and you lay.
Oh, they were doing the like stiff as a, what is it called? Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Yeah, which this is the first time you probably saw that, but they did. They levitated poor old Glenn.
No, I did that.
Oh, have you done that before?
With my friends when I was like 5 or 6. Like I was in like 1st grade. When
you guys were trying to summon a demon?
Well, I did cheer, and we were at the cheer banquet, and we were in the back corner because we weren't allowed to be doing this. So we were trying to do it, and we were just like had a bunch of girls, and I was laying in the middle. They all just like picked me up. I was scared to death. But so that was fun. I was like, oh, they were like, oh my gosh, you're levitating. Oh, wow. And I looked down, I was like, yeah, sure. But anyway, yeah, that was the part I forgot about. But wait, what was the first question that you asked?
I asked if you wanted to watch the sequel.
Oh, yeah. But like at one point I was like, so it didn't get that crazy, and then I was like, it started getting bonkers, and I was like, can it get more bonkers though? Well, I need a sneak peek on the second one.
Okay. I think we should give it a go. Maybe I'll rewatch it, see if I think you'll like it, and then we'll watch together. How do you feel about that?
Okay. But I want to watch. I want you to be just surprised when I watch.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Any final thoughts? Because we're coming up on 30 minutes here rambling. Any final thoughts on The Gate from 1987?
You mean 1856?
Yeah.
I like it. It was like I said, I didn't like the stretchy skin part. But overall, I liked it. It was cool. It was very like a lot going on at one time. It was very like overwhelming. But if I'm sure what you're gonna say next. If I think that's overwhelming, then I'm not allowed to watch any other thing.
No, you're getting there. We're getting there. We'll ease into it. Okay. Any final thoughts or any final words to the listeners at home before we wrap up this segment?
I'm pretty sure I don't even know what is Maggie talking about.
We're going to talk about some Christmas specials. When I asked her what she was going to talk about, she said she wanted to talk about how poop works.
I was just going to say that she wanted to talk about how poop works. I was like, I'm pretty sure that you shouldn't talk about that because I don't think they really want like a 30-minute segment of like you talking about how poop works.
Maybe we'll just get a quick synopsis of how poop works, and then we'll talk about some Christmas specials and Christmas movies that she likes, because she doesn't like the spooky stuff as much as you.
No, she doesn't like. Same with like I feel like I don't like, obviously, that you like beer and you're obsessed with it.
You're not a big beer drinker?
I'm 10.
Right. Oh, that's right.
But I also like hot sauce like you do, but Maggie and Mom don't. But I like scary stuff like you, but Maggie and Mom don't.
Yeah, we have some things in common in that capacity. I think you maybe you'll inherit the spooky movie fandom. We'll see.
Microphone. Overall, I probably have like 2 things in common with you.
Only 2? I can think of a couple. Just like me, you do like the sound of your own voice.
No, I was saying it last time I was on this. You have a voice that you do. You're like, well, hello, guys. Today.
Get out of here. You make fun of you say that you're my business daddy voice when I'm on calls and on the podcast. How do I normally talk when I'm not doing business daddy voice?
Let's watch some Red Link. Mythical Morning.
They make fun of me because I like Good Mythical Morning, which is it is slightly embarrassing. Okay, all right. Say goodbye to all the friends and boils and ghouls at home. Maeve, tell them Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays.
That's the cringiest thing ever. Boys and ghouls.
Boils and ghouls.
If you ever say that in real life, I will scream. If you say that again next time on this podcast, I'm gonna scream. But anyway, happy holidays. I hope you have a very Merry Pinkmas. Bye.
All right, bye. Okay, here I am with squid number 2. We have Maggie. Say hello to all the listeners, Maggie.
Hi.
Maggie, tell the listeners, our boils and ghouls at home, tell them how old you are.
Why are you calling them that?
Well, that's what we always call them on the show.
Oh, well, that's weird. Okay, hi.
How old are you?
I'm 8 years old.
Yeah. All right. And I was just talking with your squid sister, and she is more into the spooky stuff in the movies and the spooky movies and stuff. And you said you're not as quite into them as Maeve is, right?
Yeah, I don't like spooky things.
No. So when I said, what do you want to talk about? You said you want to talk about how poop works.
Yeah.
Is that your like area of expertise, pooping?
Yeah.
All right. So give the listeners at home a quick rundown of how poop works.
It comes out of your butt.
It does come out of your butt most of the time. That's true. Any other hot tips about poop before we get into some Christmas specials?
No.
Do you like the phrase hot tips about poop?
Oh, no.
Not at all. All right. Okay. So we're going to talk about some Christmas movies and Christmas specials and stuff like that. So let's talk first about some ones that we watched this year, either ones that are new to you or ones that are not new to you, but we've watched this year. How about that?
Yeah.
All right. Give me an example of one. What is one that you remember that we've watched this year so far?
The new Grinch. Like the one that's the cartoon, but it's not the old one.
Yeah, the one with Benedict Cumberbatch. Do you know the guy who does the voice of the Grinch? His name is Benedict Cumberbatch.
No, I don't know who that is.
So you really like that one, which I really like that one too. What do you like about that one compared to the original TV cartoon and to the live action Grinch? Why do you like the new one so much? Because
she has like friends and they have a whole mission, and it's more interesting than the other one.
What you like the cartoon though?
Yeah, I like that cartoon.
But you do not necessarily like the live action one with Jim Carrey very much.
That one's terrifying.
You don't like it because it's scary? What else don't you like about it?
I don't really know. I don't like how the Grinch. I don't like their noses. They're all high up.
They're all high up. They're all squishy.
They're
like the pig noses that the Who's have.
Yeah.
What do you like about the new one? Like, what is one of the things that you, besides I know you like the kid characters and stuff. What do you like about, is there any other scenes or parts of it that you really like?
I like that she has a mom in that one.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I guess Cindy Lou Who in the original cartoon doesn't have a mom. She does in the live action one, I think, although I haven't seen that one that many.
Dad in that one.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you're right. He has a dad who's like, isn't he like a mailman or something? I don't know.
In the mail place.
Yeah. All right, what else have we watched this year?
At school, I watched the new Charlie Brown that's like 3D.
I don't think I've seen that. What is it about?
It just like this. Charlie Brown has a crush on this girl that's red hair girl, and he went to the dance, and then whoever had the best dance moves gets to go over somewhere. I don't know where they go, but then the next person, and then the boys dance, and then the best boy. That's the best boy dancer gets to dance with the best girl dancer.
Is his crush the best girl dancer?
Yeah, so they went to the dance, and the best girl dancer was the girl. And then after he he's the announcer said, "I think we might have a winner." And then somebody knocked over the punch, and then everyone ran away. So,
did you think it was good or bad or meh?
Good.
Okay. All right. I don't think I've watched that one yet. All right. What else what did I make you watch again, which I make you watch every year?
The Garfield Christmas special.
Garfield. I love Garfield Christmas. How do you feel about Garfield Christmas?
Meh.
Yeah, you're just meh on Garfield Christmas. You know, I used to watch that when I was a kid, like every single day, whether it was Christmas time or not. And that's why I worship Garfield. How do you think about that?
Why do you worship him?
Because when I go to heaven, I want Garfield to welcome me to heaven. Does that make sense?
No.
What is the one part that I always crack up at? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's the part where the dad's reading the book, and then he's like all lazy, and then he's like, "That's how Binky says it."
John Boy Arbuckle, Doc Boy Arbuckle, I'm sorry, John's brother, when he says it, he's played by, oh my gosh, I can't remember the guy's name, but he is Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley, and he does this line where he goes, John's like, "Dad, do the hey kids." You know, he does hey kids. And he does it kind of quiet. He says, "Do it with more emotion." And Doc Boy goes, "Yeah, Dad, say it how Binky says it." And he like squints his eyes, and it makes me pee my pants every time.
Yeah, his eyes are like, looks like he's so tired. He's like,
What else can you think of any other ones that we've watched so far this year? We didn't watch the one with the little boy's naked butt in it, which you guys thought was so funny when you were little.
Yeah, and I have a question.
Which was the Santa Claus, or no, the snowman, the British one, right?
That one's so sad. The snowman melts. And then I have a question about Garfield Christmas and just Garfield in general. Does the Garfield owner, does he understand Garfield?
That is the eternal Garfield question. Does John understand? Can he hear Garfield, or does he know that he's communicating to him? I think in the original cartoon strip, the answer was no, but over time, the lines have kind of blurred a little bit. Do you think that John can understand Garfield?
Sometimes.
Just sometimes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Any other ones that we watched this year, or any other ones that you're like, we really need to watch this year because we haven't watched yet? We watched Gabby Cat's Christmas today.
Yeah. Where they're like, meow, 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 meow.
You love Gabby Cats. What else are you looking forward to watching that we haven't watched yet? All the ones that Daddy really likes, you guys get bored of, like Christmas Vacation and what else?
Watch that.
What else? What other ones do I like that you are? Christmas Story you think is boring too?
I like the one with Mickey, the one with all the 3 presents, and then it's like a bunch of Mickey things.
You guys like which is one of my favorite too, which is A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah, I do.
What's your favorite part of A Muppet Christmas Carol?
Is it the one with the mouse and the bird? I like when like he jumps off of the thing, and he left his jelly beans behind, and then he goes back there, and he's like, "You could go through there that whole time," and he's like, "Yeah, what?" And he's like, "You're so stupid. What?
Yeah, Rizzo the rat. And
Rizzo?
yeah, Rizzo the rat. Did you know that was his name?
Rizzler the rat.
Rizzler the rat. You giving me Rizzler? Show me your little Rizzler thing. She's doing a little point at the jawbone thing. All right. What about so Gonzo, who's the main narrator that plays, quote unquote Charles Dickens in it. What do you think that he is? You think he's a bird?
Yeah.
He's actually
a parrot.
Because of the nose. I thought that when I was a kid too, but
Toucan parrot.
He's not. That's just his nose. That's not a beak.
What is he?
He's Gonzo. He's his own thing.
He's his own species. He's an alien.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, all right. So, what are your favorite, not just the ones we've watched this year, what are your favorite Christmas movies, Christmas specials, ever? Or even books. What are some things that you like to watch or read around Christmas time?
I like the one we read on Christmas Eve.
Do you remember what the name of it is?
The Night Before Christmas.
'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Yeah, we read it every Christmas Eve before we go to bed. Do you remember doing that when you were really little?
No, but I do remember one time where it was before bed, and we played I Can Make Your Hands Clap, and then we were all dancing in our PJs.
Yeah, we do tend to have dance parties before bed, which is not a good way to get sleepy.
Yeah, it is.
Do you think so?
Yeah, because then you get all tired.
That's a good point. You do actually tend to have a little bit of a dance marathon before you go to bed to get all your energy out. You can't hear me. She's doing a little dance right now. All right. Throw out another special, another movie, another thing that you, even if it's not one that you necessarily like, but you just find interesting or you remember watching. Do you remember watching Aquanauts Christmas?
Barely. I remember seeing the polar bear and the hat.
We used to watch Aquanauts, the Christmas special of Aquanauts, all the time when you were little. And the other one we used to watch constantly, which you guys barely remember now, is the Trolls Holiday Special. Do you remember that one?
The name, but not the show.
No, you were pretty little. All right, so here's the big question. Tell the folks at home, what did you ask Santa for Christmas this year? What are you excited that you might get for Christmas this year?
Punching bag.
A punching bag? That was something you came up with today, I think, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't today. It was like a couple of days ago.
What else?
Roller skates.
Yeah, I remember roller skates. That's been something that's been on your list for a while. What else?
And a Walla water bottle.
Oh, Walla water bottle. And I remember one of the other things you put was a gift card to Five Below, which I thought was a funny thing to ask Santa for. You just like Five Below in general, right?
Five Below.
What do you like about going to Five Below?
Because it's cheap.
Yeah, everything's just, and there's also just so much silly stuff in there that you just don't see other places. You're like, what are we going to do with this? I don't know, who knows, but it's silly. It's fun.
Yeah, we got a rug that Mabel really likes, and our dog chews up.
Yeah, Roger started chewing on that thing, didn't he? All right, so we are a few days before Christmas. We're pretty far into the Christmas season here. We've had a really fun start to Christmas break. How many days do you have off for Christmas break again?
Last year, I think we had like 11 or something like that.
How many this year?
I don't know this year.
I think you got like 14 or 12 or something this year. So what are some fun memories we've made already this year leading up to Christmas?
When we got the slime advent calendar.
Oh, yeah. Your advent calendar this year is slime. So tell them what you get out of the slime advent calendar.
So the first day, you'll get a slime. And then the next day, you'll get charms and sprinkles and add-ins to the slime you got the first day. And then you get a slime. And then charms for the slime. And then charm. And then
They love slime, making their own slime and naming it and stuff like that, and putting scents in it. And it's like, well, for some of the other ones you've gotten from like Peachy Babies and stuff you do. But anyway, for those of you who don't have little kids at home that don't have slime obsessed children, it's kind of like Nickelodeon Gak, but all different weird textures and stuff like that. So of the slimes you've gotten the slime advent calendar this year, what is your favorite? What's it called?
it's called Santa's Little Helpers. It smells really good. It smells like Blue Jolly Ranchers.
Ooh, do you ever like think, man, I want to eat some of this slime?
It would be cool to bite into it.
But what is slime? Tell the people what slime is mostly made out of.
Glue and activator.
Yeah, glue and like borax, which is like a
Borax diluted in warm water.
yeah, borax, water, and glue. So borax is like a cleaner. Yeah. Did you see my alien giving you the middle finger in the corner of the room? She just gave it the middle finger. She thinks it's pretty cool. All right. Any final what is there one thing a few days before Christmas here that you're really excited for leading up to Christmas? What else besides Santa coming and all that fun stuff on Christmas Day? What else are you really excited for, looking forward to?
Our grandma and Pap coming over to sleep over. Yay. I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, you love when Grandma and Pap come sleep over on Christmas Eve so they can be here on Christmas morning when you guys wake up and open your presents.
Yeah, and then we get to sleep in you guys' room.
Yeah, and then you usually sleep in our room too because they sleep in. Actually, this year, Uncle Danny and Aunt Kate won't be here because they're getting ready to have a baby any day now. So you guys could sleep there, or you could sleep in our bed with us on Christmas Eve.
Bed.
You know, these days we have 2 dogs in there in the bed normally too.
Yeah.
So you guys are You're gonna be fighting for position.
Yeah, I want to just Roger to lay on me.
Yeah, he usually does that a lot of nights anyway.
Yeah, and Kirby. I just want both of them to be on me.
Yeah, big, cuddly dogs. All right. Any final thoughts, or anything else you want to tell the listeners before Christmas?
Don't say my name. They could kidnap me.
Do you think they're going to kidnap you?
Yeah.
You don't trust them. That's probably good. You shouldn't trust these people. They're dirt balls. All right. Well, say whatever you want to say. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Bienvenido, Feliz Navidad. What do you want to say?
Hi.
Oh, there you go. That was so good. Short and sweet. All right. Thanks, man. She just gave me big eyes. All right. Here we are for our final segment of the episode. I'm here with my beautiful blushing bride, Kate.
Hello.
You made quite a face when I referred to you as that.
I don't know. It's kind of offensive.
Why is it offensive?
I don't know.
Of 6, well, we haven't been married for 16 years, but we've been together for 16 years.
Yeah. Too long.
Yeah. I've called you worse things than that before.
That's very true.
It sounds not worse. Like, you get what I mean. All right. So, how do you think things went with the girls for their segments? If you had to guess, how did Maeve's go?
I imagine she gave you a hard time the whole time.
Kind of. She made fun of me. She talked a lot of just, talking. I said we were talking about things we have in common, and she said we had 2 things in common, that her and I both liked spooky things and both liked hot sauces, and I said we also both liked the sound of our own voice.
That is extremely true. Fair. Yeah, very fair.
How do you think Maggie's went?
I feel like she'd be a little bit more shy.
She was a little bit more shy, definitely. Oh, that dog farts. Man, we got some farty, stinky ass dogs. One of them just came in here with us, and they what's going on with these dogs' butts?
I don't know.
That's a problem. Anyway, all right, we're gonna switch it up here. We're gonna talk a little bit about what I'm affectionately referring to as confessions of a horror spouse, which we are married, but it doesn't have to be spouse. It could just be a partner, right? But I find, especially on the social medias with our friends and listeners out there, that they often make light of the fact that their significant other is not necessarily a horror fan. So obviously a lot of horror fans end up together or date or whatever for periods of time, but you are decidedly not you're a movie fan, but not necessarily horror genre is not your by far from your go-to, I would say. But you have been married to and collectively with a horror fan for nigh on 16 years now. How's that going for you? Broadly, just a broad question.
I mean, one day at a time.
It could be worse. I could be into, sports betting or something.
Yeah, that would be it would be worse for sure.
All right. So if I had to say, just to give the folks at home a feel for your movie tastes, tell us a little bit about your genres you like, maybe some of your favorite movies, just to give them a little bit of a taste in the dichotomy, because especially regular listeners would be pretty intimately familiar with your boys' tastes. So let's hear about yours.
First of all, stop calling yourself
your boy.
No, I don't like it. I like pretty much every genre except for horror. Rom-coms and drama. I like a good mystery, not gory, thrillery mystery, but want to get to the end to see what's going to happen. Like I'm thinking like Knives Out type thing.
Yeah, you're not opposed to spooky, and you're not opposed to violence necessarily, but just horror is certainly not your chosen genre. It's not your genre of choice.
Correct. Yeah. And I like just dumb comedies too. That's probably my go-to.
If I put you on the spot and said 3 movies that are at the top of your list, don't have to be in order, don't have to be your definitive 3, but I put you on the spot and said, you got 10 seconds to list your 3 favorite movies, what might they be?
I mean, one that I can't not watch if it's on would be The Princess Bride. I love The Shawshank Redemption. I know that's really cliche to say, but I don't know, any Happy Madison production, all the Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison.
If somebody said quick, if we were playing one of those, couples game shows, and somebody said, "What is your wife's favorite movie?" Though you have not mentioned the one I would immediately say, which would be, for whatever reason, I would immediately say Dumb and Dumber.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that's at the top. I, for the record, came in here cold. I had absolutely no idea what we were talking about.
Yeah, we're spitballing. We're spitballing here. We're treating this like a therapy session.
I'm not a podcaster.
No. So we're treating this like a therapy session. Okay. So what are some of the good and bad? I'm going to put you on the spot here. Some of the goods and the bads about, and I will say, I've been a lifelong horror fan, but I will say I have delved back into the horror genre more heavily in the last 6 or 8 years.
I would say 4.
Yeah, I've definitely started hitting it harder. I think COVID definitely.
Even before COVID, this all started because you've always been a horror fan. You introduced me to the original Halloween, which I do truly love. But you started making a list on your phone of movies that you wanted to watch, and you wanted to watch a movie. I believe 100 movies was your goal.
Yeah, this is in 2020.
It was 2020, and it was before like COVID 2020. It was in January of 2020 when we didn't know that like the world would shut down. And you made a list of you wanted to watch 100 movies, and you started watching them almost daily. And I was like, well, this pace is unrealistic. And then COVID happened, and it was like, wow, this is actually really realistic. And you were able to watch like 300 movies that year.
Yeah, that jump started me back into watching a ton of horror movies because, I wanted to watch. My goal for 2020 was to watch 100 new to me, not new, but new to me horror movies I'd never seen before, and just kind of close some of those gaps in movies I'd never seen. And then COVID started, and I ended up I think I hit like 300. It was almost a movie a day for the entire year of 2020, all movies that I had never seen before. So that jump started my interest once again in watching new horror, because I think, like you said, I was very stuck in my ways prior to that. I Halloween franchise, the movies that I saw all the time, that I saw 100 times. I was very stuck in my ways of watching those movies over and over again.
Yeah, and you hit that 300 mark, and then you kind of ran out of movies. So then To Be Roulette started, and that's when we were exposed to the murder at Blood Fart Lake or whatever that was called.
It's funny that you remember that one of all the bullshit. That
the most traumatic one for me.
Murder at Blood Fart Lake. We did an episode on that. All right, so that sets the tone a little bit of where I'm coming from, where you're coming from a little bit. So that said, you are, I will say, you are a trooper. You are a very gracious horror partner, in that you watch a lot of, and when I say watch, it's like a half watch, right? It's a dual screen situation where you're usually on your phone or reading a book or doing something else, but also kind of half paying attention. And you've seen some wild ones. Like, because I'm not, we're not watching, I know we did last summer. We're watching like, some batshit Taiwanese hopping vampire bullshit. What are some movies that stand out to you? And even if you don't know the title, throw them out there. Like something that you remember that stuck with you in a good way or a bad way, or maybe even a moment when you were like, what the fuck is happening right now? Why am I married to this asshole who watches this wacky dog shit?
Well, that happens at least once a day. But no, one of the ones that I actually genuinely enjoyed was the Korean one on the train.
Oh, Train to Busan.
Zombie one, yeah. And that one, like, you kind of actually had to pay attention. I hate subtitles. I hate them.
And I love foreign horror and J-horror and all this stuff, and I know that drives you nuts because you're not a subtitle. I'm the person who, when I watch movies, even in English, I put the subtitles on.
The movies can be very good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like, I'm not. It's nothing against any. I just hate having to read the movie because I like to look at my phone.
Yeah, that's the thing. That is one thing that I think that's part of the reason I like foreign movies that aren't dubbed, is because it forces me to pay attention and not pick up my phone. But Train to Busan, I remember, because that's a pretty brutal movie.
It really was, but I was like fully invested in it. It was exciting enough, and not, I guess it was pretty gory, but I really liked it. Not enough of a story, I guess.
Oh yeah, you care about the characters deeply in that one.
Yeah, I think that's more maybe the reason I don't get so attached to the horror genre, is that like most of it, and yeah, that was a zombie one, so obviously it's not like really going to happen, but like maybe, I don't know. But like the ones that are just so far-fetched and so insane, it's kind of hard for me to get into them. It's more like for me, it's like stuff that can actually happen. Like that's why Halloween for me is actually genuinely one of the scariest movies, because it's just a guy with a knife and it's terrifying. Yeah,
serial killers and like home invasion and that sort of stuff is seems to rattle your cage a lot more.
The other one was the one like the dinner party one.
The Invitation, maybe? Was it they were a cult? Or are you talking about well, there's a lot of dinner parties. There's You're Next.
The one with the chef that like...
Oh, you're talking about The Menu.
Yeah, The Menu. But then like, so there's that one. I did like that one. But then there's also the one where it was just like a dinner party and they all came. I can't even remember everything about it, but it was one that kept my attention. And now I look bad because I can't remember.
No. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of them that come to mind. You tend to like ones that are a little bit, because you like mysteries. You're a big murder mystery person. And so I think ones that are intimate, small settings, mystery type stuff, you seem to gravitate towards.
Yeah. I also like can't separate myself from them. Like the ones that are like realistic. I like actually am terrified because I feel like could happen. And then I can't like separate myself.
Yeah, I am, I admit, am very jaded. And so I can very easily separate myself. And you are also like, I would describe you as like an empath. So you're like very empathetic of others, where don't want to make myself sound like a weird sociopath, but I'm a little less, shut up. I'm a little less empathetic to characters in stories unless they do a really great job of developing the character. And I watch so many horror movies that, you know, the horror genre notorious for not always doing the greatest of character development. Sometimes they do a wonderful job. A lot of times it's just like, hey, these people are, here's a fodder for a murderer. And I don't really put myself in their shoes in the way that you do.
Yeah. You're pretty numb to it. And I am not yet. Although I am more so than I was 4 years ago when we started watching these movies, which kind of scares me that like I can actually look at more than I could before. I used to just have to turn away for a lot of things that I can actually watch now, which I don't think that's a good thing.
Sure, why not?
It makes me feel like a serial killer.
All right. So what are some movies that you've watched that maybe you were just like, this is that I really like? Like if there's a movie that I really like, or that I have called out as being good, or that I've called out as something I enjoy, that you were like, the fuck is wrong with you? Like anything. That's all right. If anything comes to mind, even a scene or something like that.
The one with like the radioactive guy. Oh man.
The Toxic Avenger?
Yes. That one's fucking ridiculous. It's so stupid.
Well, yeah. If there is a production company or
all the trauma.
Exactly, yeah.
All of them. I hate them.
Steve is editing this right now, furious.
Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, Steve is the trauma. I love trauma movies, but I know that like Class of Nukem High. I remember
that one too. Yep.
Yeah. I remember specifically watching Class of Nukem High, and you're just like, what the fuck? They're just literally just screaming. No one ever isn't screaming.
Yeah, it was very loud.
You hate screaming.
I get overstimulated.
Yeah, we'll watch movies and it'll be in the background and be like, this is 2 hours of just people screaming. It's funny because you are very sensitive to that, and I am less so, but Steve is like, there are movies. There was a movie we watched recently. We did an episode.
Some of his movies that he has picked, Steve, I have a bone to pick with you, are so abrasive. Just like either the music is just so abrasive or it's just constant screaming and noise.
I wonder if because Steve is also like a metal guy, like that's his music genre of I mean, I think he listens to everything, but like Steve is like he'll listen to insane death metal.
In sync.
Yeah, and you listen to Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah.
Like there might be he might have more of a tolerance for sound.
The most basic of white bitches.
That's not true. That's not true. But yeah, in the horror genre, not necessarily. A quiet dinner mystery is way more up your alley than screaming, stabbing, melting things.
For sure. And like the abrasive music too. I don't like movies that are just like so over the top with like the music. And it obviously is supposed to make you feel a certain way, but I don't like the way it makes me feel.
If there is a subgenre of horror, and it doesn't have to be specific industry thing, like, you know, like I'm just, if there's something in horror that interests you that you're like, you know what, I've thought to myself, let's say, I'm just going to pull one out of my ass, but like, let's say you're like, you know what, I've seen a couple of werewolf flicks that I like. I know that's probably not true for you, but I'm just saying. And is there something like that you saw and were like, hey, that's kind of interesting. I wouldn't mind delving a little deeper into into that. By the way, guys, you can't see this. Her face is scrunched up in a way that is like I asked her to just eat bugs.
All I can think of are the ones we've already talked about, like the psychological thriller type things where you're like, trapped in a scenario.
You know what? I've often thought, and we've watched a couple of these together, and you seem to enjoy them. We should go down the path of watching more Hitchcock movies together, because I feel like a lot of these Hitchcock movies you would really like, and I love, but I don't think we've watched that many together. Have we watched any together besides like Psycho and stuff like that?
No, we haven't. You're right.
Have you watched Vertigo, or did we watch Rear Window together?
No, I've never seen Rear Window. I can't say it. Rear Window.
Yeah, you would love this, and you like Jimmy Stewart, all right? You're not a huge oh my God, what's the freaking Christmas movie everyone goes nuts about?
Miracle on 30.
No, not. That's all I want to say too.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life, because all I can think of is Miracle on 34th Street too. But yeah,
his voice is very distracting to me. His cadence and the way he talks, it's very distracting. But I might be able to get past that. I don't know.
Yeah, Jimmy Stewart is in a lot of those Hitchcock movies. So that was the only reason I just went and second guessed myself, because I know Jimmy Stewart isn't your favorite actor in the world.
No. Well, yeah, that and like I guess I could say I like the zombie genre pretty well, like the slow ones and the fast ones. But that's not, that's pretty cliche too. I'm sure you're up on all the horror news. Did you see the announcement? They're doing a third installment of the 28 days later. Then they did 28 weeks later, which I remember you liked 28 days later. They're doing 28 years later. Yeah. I'm sure on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you about that? 3.
That's higher than I would have thought. Here's another, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Are you going to go see Robert Eggers' Nosferatu with me? It comes out on Christmas Day.
Nah, dog.
No, Jared's going to go with me.
Okay.
We said we're going to go do mushrooms and watch Nosferatu on Christmas Day. Is it all right if we go on Christmas Day?
With that, I'll be opening presents with our children.
No, we're not going on Christmas Day, but it is released on Christmas Day. Jared and I are going to go see it. It's got William Dafoe. Does that change your mind?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So do you have, because I would venture to say, and I think you might agree with me, I am how do I put this? I jump into things in a fairly extreme way. When I get about a thing, like in recent months, maybe over the last year and a half or so, maybe 2 years, I've gotten back into reading horror more, and I've been on quite a tear with that. And when I get into things, I tend to go pretty intensely into them. What is let's say a tip? I don't want to be dramatic and say coping mechanism, but what is maybe a tip or a bit of advice that you might give to a significant other of somebody who is a hardcore horror fan? Good, bad, indifferent. It doesn't have to be to, for my benefit. It could be for your own benefit. But what is a particular bit of advice you might give from a non-horror partner that has a partner that is a horror fan, or maybe not as hardcore into it as I am, hosting a podcast and those types of things, but that is really into this type of stuff?
When you sit down on the couch at night, grab the remote first.
I was going to say, at first she made a face like she was going to say something very genuine, and then I saw the look on her face that she was going to say something smart ass.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever want to watch what you want to watch ever again.
That's not fair. We watch stuff that you want to watch.
I'm just kidding.
How many times do you think I've seen episodes of The Office and New Girl and that type of stuff?
Yeah, it's not proportional, but or proportionate at all, but it's fine.
It's funny that you think that. It's interesting that you think that.
In all seriousness, my advice would be to just start by, being in the room with the movie, listening only, and then ease your way into watching, because that's what I did. And there are some movies that I would have never watched in the past that I genuinely enjoyed.
I think one that you're being too nice to say, and maybe you can tell me whether you agree or not, is like, kind of set some boundaries. Because I think that like I said, I tend to go really hardcore into a hobby or a thing like that, and I kind of go through spurts where I won't watch a bunch of movies for like a couple months, and then a couple months that's all I'll do. I'll just get super into it. And I think you do a pretty good job of saying like, all right, I don't want to watch this right now. Like, this is not like I think I don't try to force you to get into this hobby. This is not a thing you're into, and I don't have any aspirations for you to be into it. And so I think we do a pretty good job of like setting boundaries in that way.
Yeah, there are days where like if I had like a stressful day and a horror movie would just make me more like anxious and high, tension, I'll just be like, no, I need something completely mindless on the TV or something that I've seen before so that it's predictable kind of thing. And yeah, we will watch something that I want to watch, but.
And it's not to say we have completely different tastes in things. This is just one thing that we differ quite a bit in. I would say actually in a lot of TV shows, with the exception of like, you're a big sitcom person. You like a lot of sitcoms, and I'm not as much.
Not like CBS, ABC sit.
No, I'm not talking 2.5 Men, but I'm saying your favorite show is the
mockumentary style type.
Yeah. You love Parks and Rec. You like
and yeah, all of those.
Which I don't dislike them. It's just not my cup of tea.
Love Only Murders in the Building, which you will not watch with me.
It's not that I won't. It's just that I'm so far behind, and also I've watched bits and pieces, and it doesn't feel like something I'd be that into.
Here's the problem. You don't like shows. You just don't like to watch TV shows. You don't like to binge watch multiple episodes of TV shows. You'd rather watch 2 hours of a movie instead of 2 hours of back-to-back TV show. Every time we start, like we both like Schitt's Creek, or even like back when we watched Breaking Bad, there'd be like 1 or 2 episodes at a time, and you'd be like, okay, I can't watch anymore. And I'm like, I need to watch the entire series in one night.
Yeah, that's true. The binge watching is not as I'm not as built for that. I like to jump around. My attention span isn't that long, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right. Well, final question. Will you agree to stay married to me?
Yes.
All right, good. All right. That's a win, I guess. Is there anything that you're even remotely looking forward to from a horror perspective watching before the holiday season is up? Would you care to watch Jack Frost 2? I know you're a big fan of the original Jack Frost, the mutant killer snowman. We watched already part of it on Thanksgiving when we were down in Nashville. I know you're a big fan of that one.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, I can.
Just trying to sucker you into watching Jack Frost and Jack Frost 2 again. All right. Any final words for the listeners before we sign off here? We're learning French right now. Bienvenue. What? I don't know. What's
Bienvenue's welcome.
Yeah. So the opposite of that.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Not bonjour. What's the
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir. Yeah. All right. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Joyous Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. Boys and ghouls. I hope you enjoyed listening to my family gabbing on about nonsense for a little while. Hope you enjoy these this kind of little solo episodes we do around the holidays. But remember, we're coming back damn soon here with our January showdown episode. If you've got suggestions for movies, good movies with bad titles, send them our way at Halloween is Forever over on the socials. You can also shoot us an old-fashioned email if you feel so inclined. HalloweenIsForeverPod@gmail.com. And don't forget, if you're looking for a last-minute procrastinated gift idea for your, I don't know, significant other or friend or family member, whatever, who likes this here podcast too, you can go over to patreon.com/HalloweenIsForever. Get them a subscription to our Patreon and get a little bonus content here. Let's talk about dumb Christian horror movies for a while. And then only a couple more months, and then Steve's going to take the reins again. And I'm terrified of what that fucking psycho is going to throw at me for the next, 10 months or so. All right. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, joyous Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, all the various things. We just hit the solstice. Happy solstice to you. For the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian. But Steve, shut the fuck up, Steve. You just show up at the end. I think you're just gonna say something disrespectful.
Little did he know, Brian's spot-on impression had earned him a Paul Walker film in his future. Ho, 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 Joe Brandon, away!